Omori is a beautifully tragic game. Now, I'm not much of an emotional guy when it comes to media and entertainment and stuff like that. I've played games like The Last of Us, Red Dead 2, and hell, even Cyberpunk at launch, and I never shed a tear playing any of those games, even though they were all pretty sad. But damn, was I fucking close to shedding a tear playing Omori. This game was tragic in the most beautiful, magnificent way, and I just want to talk about it. I want to let my thoughts just flow out because there's a lot that I want to talk about, and I just want to give a spoiler warning because I'm just gonna talk about everything about this game. And with that being said, that's your spoiler warning. Let's get into this. So, starting with the characters, I think that the characters were awesome. I have never been this captivated or invested in the characters of a game in so long. I've been playing Genshin Impact a lot recently, so I haven't been. And with that being said, I haven't really been talking to the characters that much. I haven't been talking to the NPCs that much. I haven't been interacting with the world quests or anything unless it gives me primos, like unless I get rewarded or something. So that goes for Genshin, and then for something like The Last of Us, is the same thing. You know, most of these games, generally, I don't really interact with the characters that much, but in Omori, I really try my best to talk to everyone as much as I can, spending as much time going around the world talking to people, because I just thought that it was pretty cool listening to the dialogue in this game. I think it was pretty nice. I think it was pretty creative what the people had to say, and I really also liked the quest that some NPCs gave you, because it's also important talking to these characters. You never know what they might give you. It might be something that can help you progress in the game. It might be something that, you know, an item that absolutely fucking wrecks the bosses and enemies. So I think that's cool. And moving on to, actually no, before I move on to anything else, I want to talk about the characters as well. I think the characters were amazing. I don't think that they were one-dimensional at all. They really had depth to them, all of them, all the main cast, except for, of course, the side characters. You know, like I forgot, like Aubrey's friends. Those guys, they don't have much depth, but they're just there, I guess. I'm talking about the main cast. They had a lot of depth to them. There's a lot of things that's going on with them, and I loved every single one of them. Hero's still my favorite character. He's still my fucking goat. But they're all equally great in my opinion. I loved every single one of their aspects. I love what they represented. And especially Omori, some one aspect of him I kind of relate to as well. The part where he's moving out, and also actually this kind of goes with what I want to talk about next, which is the story of Omori. So the story, it was good. I'll say this: the story overall was great, but I didn't like that last act. I'll get into that before I get into the good parts of the story. I didn't like that last act. I'm not gonna lie. That last act felt a bit messy with what was going on with Marie's death. You know how that came out. Who killed Marie? You know, there was a freak accident that happened. Omori pushed her down the stairs and she died, and he made it seem like she was hanging, which didn't really make sense to me because, you know, for something even if it was a suicide, an autopsy would be conducted on her. So, you know, you'd think that the cops or the forensic scientists would find out that it wasn't really the hanging, the noose that did her in. It was the fucking blunt trauma that she experienced before she died, like the fracture that she has on her skull. Unless they just buried her without even, you know, doing anything. I guess that makes sense. I don't know if that's even something that they would do. Why would they do that? But anyways, well, like even suspending disbelief there and saying that, you know, they didn't really dig into that. There's still the issue with the whole Basil and Omori situation. I don't really understand that. Maybe I'm just like fucking stupid or something. I don't really understand the story behind that. What happened between Basil and Omori? My interpretation is that Basil caught Omori carrying the body. He thinks that he knows, or he saw Omori push Marie down the stairs, and she died from that impact or whatever. And you know, he saw all that, but he's kind of coping with this, saying that it was actually the devil, the shadow behind you that did it, and I'm gonna take care of it. And so he wants to like kill Omori because of that. I don't really get that. It just doesn't make sense to me. It kind of confuses me, but that's my interpretation of it. And even then, there are still some issues there. But that was I guess, the iffy aspect of the stories. I guess even like bad. But as for the good part of the story, which is pretty much everything, I did like how they played it out. I like the idea that Omori is actually just a person who is experiencing both the bad aspects, the depressing side of himself, while trying to cope by having this happy side of himself, which is what we see in the dream sequences, the side that he wants to, the reality that he kind of wants to relive, which are the memories with his sister and all of his friends. And it kind of conflicts with that bad side in reality as well. And I like that. I really like that. I also like the idea of Omori moving out. He's dealing with that. It doesn't really feel like a big aspect of the game, especially towards the end. It kind of feels left out. It doesn't really do much towards the end because in the end, I got the good ending. It pretty much just focuses on Marie more than it does moving out. And I just wish they touched on that aspect a bit more, focusing on Omori moving out, and we even see maybe like a scene of him actually saying goodbye to the fairway, because or it's just a bias for me because I moved out of my home. I don't know if you guys know this, but I clearly live alone here, so I'm like I kind of relate to this part of Omori where he's moving out of his home and that he has to, or he wants to spend his last few days with his friends and the people he cares about, because I kind of did the same thing. I also, in my last few days, even though I am a very introverted person, I spent the last of my days before I moved out just hanging out with my friends and family and stuff like that, and it was pretty nice. And I've even been told the same things that Omori's been told, which is that you're never gonna be alone. You can still keep in contact with us and whatnot. And I just related to that. It was nice seeing that side of Omori, and that's as far as the story goes for me. Now getting into something else that I really liked about the game, which are the scenes, the sequences themselves, and the OST. So getting to the OST first, wow, I didn't know that OST was from Omori. I didn't know it was from that game. I thought it was from like Deltarune or some shit. The piano one. I thought, like, when I launched the game and heard that, I genuinely thought that was from Deltarune or something. So I was extremely surprised to learn that this was from Omori. And not just that it was from Omori, it's a core part of this game. It's like the fucking song in Your Lie in April. It's really like a part of this game. And I loved it. I love whenever they played it. It just made me smile every time. I love piano music. I have a guitar. I don't know, you guys can't see it. I have a guitar. I play that because it is the best instrument I can get. It's my favorite that I can like get best bang for my buck. But if I can get a piano, I'd play that shit because piano music really does hit a part of me that makes me feel something. I guess it is so beautiful, and they use it so well in the sequences in this game, which is why I tied the OST and the sequences together. The OSTs in this game go so well with certain scenes, and this ties into the final scene for me, right? The biggest I guess example that I can think of is the final duet scene, which is the scene where, if you guys played the game, Marie and Omori finally play that duet that they never got to play because of that freak accident. And I love the symbolism behind it. I love the OST. I love the whole scene itself. And I was in such awe that I just stared at it, sat in silence, shut my mouth for 2 minutes while this whole song played, and it was so beautiful. I can't explain to you guys how majestic that was. It was such a nice scene. It was such an impactful moment. I couldn't even say anything. I just sat and smiled and watched. It was so good. It was one of the best scenes I've ever seen in gaming. That could be an over exaggeration. You guys can call it what you want, but I still think that this was great. I love the symbolism behind it. For me, the interpretation that I have of it is that Omori is, I guess, like he finally gets that duet that he wanted to do with Marie, and now that he did it, he can finally move on from her and focus on his future and leave the past behind, which is very bittersweet. And even thinking about this now, saying this out loud, it still kind of tugs on my heartstrings a bit because I really did, feel like I was going through this journey with Omori, and seeing him finally being able to let go of that past and play that duet and finally say goodbye to Marie one last time before he moves on. It was awesome. It was great, and that's pretty much everything I can think of right now that I can say about the game. But also, I do want to add this. Although there is replay value for this game, there are other endings. I got the good one. I know that there's the bad ending, there's the other ending. I don't think I'm going to play this game again. As much as I love it, I think it's just a one and done thing for me because, to be honest, this is one of those games where I feel like it's too traumatic for me to go back and play. You can call me a pussy all you want, whatever, but I think it's one of those games where once I play it, I don't really want to go back because that's just it. I experienced it. I don't want to go through that again. It really does feel like a bad part of myself that I don't want to relive. Omori was beautiful in the most terrible way, like if that makes sense, because of how tragic it is. I don't want to go through the game two, three more times, however many times to unlock any more achievements, any more endings. But it's beautiful the first time I've played it. And also something else. I know that if I go into the game a second time, I know that this is a terrible excuse, but I stand by this. If I play the game a second time, I know for a fact I will cry playing it because now that I know the context behind the scene of the final duet, now that I know that everything that happens, playing the game again would just be even more tragic than the first time. Knowing what's coming up, knowing the meaning behind the final duet and everything that goes on in the game, the hidden details and all that. I just don't want to go through that again, man. I don't want to go through all of that shit because even though I didn't show it on stream and even now it doesn't really seem like it, the game didn't really have an impact on me in a good way and a bad way as well. This game was fucking tragic, man. Again, I haven't gotten this emotional playing a game. I know there are no tears. I'm fucking dry as a desert here. There are no tears, but god damn was this game depressing. I don't want to play this again. It's a one and done thing. Again, it's been a while since I last played a game that made me feel like this. Red Dead 2 is also another example. I have been fucking sad ever since I saw the ending of Red Dead 2. I got over it eventually. No tears, but it was still like it still had an effect on me. And the same thing with Omori. This game, as much as I loved it, it's also still one of those games that I just really don't wanna go through again. I love it. I just don't want to play it again. And yeah, this is definitely up there with one of the best RPGs I've played. I've raged at also like many of the bosses. Fuck Sweetheart. Fuck Humphrey. Fuck Humphrey again. Fuck Humphrey the third time. Fuck Humphrey a million times. The bosses sucked ass. And that's all I want to talk about. I don't really want to talk about this game that much. It is so beautiful, but I don't want to talk about it anymore. I guess yeah, that's pretty much it. Thank you guys for I guess traumatizing me, the people that recommended me this game. But yeah, that's pretty much it.